All right, howdy, folks. Welcome back. I told you I would be back. It's just that I leave a damage path everywhere I go. All right, let's get started here. While this is loading up here, I'd like to take this moment to thank every one of you, even in replay, for taking a moment of your precious time to be here with this very precious family. And if you've been here and you know what's going on, you understand what I mean, and you'll understand how precious this family is. Okay. Let's get to it here. Here's May 15th, 2024, and there's your activity on the sun. I'll let that loop play for a minute. And the opening event we covered right there, we covered a little of that last night because it had taken place, early in the morning or whatever. So I was able to cover that first part, but the rest of this is other activity for today. So, and then we'll catch this on the opening frame and go through it frame by frame because we got a lot to go through there, don't we? All right, on a second here, let it kind of wrap around and we'll catch it right about there. All right, let's get all in good shape here. Trim the screen. All right, our opening frame. We're at 0-100 right here on May 15th. And as you can see, we have the spire coming out right here, something already leaving the screen right there. Now, as we proceed through the day, we had this event over here on the side coming out here in just a second. Right here that we started to report on last night. And you can see there's big old ball of fire right there. It's one of these spheres just totally engulfed in a bunch of plasma right there. You can see the spread, really wide spread on this. There's a lot going on back, maybe out of frame. But then as we continue, here you can see our object. Wait, let's go back to that frame right there. We'll zoom in on this for those who didn't see it last night. We'll get up in there. Whoops, if I can adjust it right. All right, so as you can see, here's your round black spheroid draped in plasma. You can see, plasma draping back behind it. There might be a secondary. Oh, it's right there. There's a secondary right there. And we'll zoom in a little bit harder on this frame. Okay, that's as far as it goes. And then, all right, so yeah, now we've captured this lower one right there. So there's a dark spheroid right there and another one right here. All right, just want to make sure we get it properly. All right, yeah. And you can see the plasma streaking off the top of this sphere, still reaching back this way, still connected. This spaghettification teardrop effect that we saw on the weather too, when these things had their little tail that whips and curls and whips around from coming off of the round object. All right, so there's our object, plasma streaking back. There might be another one kind of hiding right in here because this hitting and going around. So there's probably the front part of one sticking out right there with plasma streaking out from behind it. You can see this one. And then there's this one with, it's still glowing around the edges. So very interesting configuration we have there. I'll just kind of let that sit there for a second so you can look at it, let your eyes adjust, because there's kind of like different perspectives. This one's dark, but this one's, silhouetted. This one's partially sticking out, so your eyes adjust from one thing to the other. And I really want to make sure we don't get any wavy lines in there so you can get the desired effect there. You can see what's going on. All right, so there's that frame. Let's back on out now. Okay. And as we proceed, you can see it still right here moving out. even the ghost image over here. Okay, now that event has been recovered there. 125. Okay, good. So what I want to do is take you into this next event that's coming off the top right here. It looks that we have some kind of round shape right here. You can see indentation right here on the instrumentation right here. So let's just kind of click through this really carefully. Note there's something right here hiding too. Look at that guy right there. Hang on, let's do this one really quick. I just saw that. Look at this. I was about to report on this thing right here. You can see that one coming out right there, as well as we have this one popping out at the same time. So that could cause, two blasts at the same time, or what they would call a sympathetic CME. This one seems to be coming off a different region because it's a different object approaching at a different angle. But you can clearly see that one down below there. Okay, so let me just scooch a little bit. I'm trying to get as much in the screen as I can and still use the button because this is the top event here. So as it proceeds, you can see activity going on over here. Here's our object right up in there. And let's do this. Let's do a little zooming in. Sorry, we're in and out all the time. But here, well, a little darker. Here's our round spheroid object right here, and you can see the bow line right here cutting right across it, and it leaves an indentation in the red. Okay, totally indicating that there is an object right there. Then, as we come over to this image right here, you can see it right here, and there's plasma streaking up part of it. And look at this over here, too. All right, so zoom back out and move on. I'll be your tour guide today. If you look on the left side of the boat, you'll see an alligator popping about the water. It's like Fantasyland or something, huh? It feels like it. But you're not in Fantasyland. We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. All right, so this continues to move on out. You see this one captured in the ghost image right there. And we had a little jump in data. Here we are, 1324, 1324. You see this big old blast coming out up here, right? You can see the remnants of our blast right here. Look how our light is bending right here. These really sharp, defined streaks. So there's probably something right in there going on. And then we get a little jump in our data here. So we jump from 1324 to 1648. So 3 hours, whatever happened over here, we caught the tail end of it. Nice, but something captured in there maybe. Can't miss that one. I mean, do I need to zoom in on it? It's perfectly black and spheroid and round. Pretty obvious there. And why no one has the courage to report on this stuff, I don't get it, but I guess I'm just the only crazy one to do it. All right, and then here we got another skip. So we went from 2036 already into this event. See, we're missing prime stuff. At 2112, we capture it halfway out like this. It's totally blinding this camera. Just one big cone of plasma. All right, and then on the other side over here, whatever we missed, we get to see the tail end of it right there. And I think what I'll do is just kind of do this on this side. All right, so despite a lack of data or not all having all the data, we do have quite a bit going on still. So sometimes they shut the satellite down too, to in case it keep it from getting fried or whatever. But there's something more was captured probably, and they had to kind of take that little bit out or something. And you can see why this stuff is disturbing. If the whole world knew this, they'd flip out, right? You got to have a strong, sound mind to deal with this channel. All right, let's move on. So here we have our 5X flares, and they're not in one day, almost a 24-hour period, but more like a 48-hour period because there's 3 in this box. And if 2 more had happened before, see where this one starts on the day, like right about here, if we'd have had 2 more before this time frame squeezed in over here, we would have had 5 in one day. But we still have 5 of them within 48 hours, which is way too much. Okay, so the sun is like kicking out a bunch of X flares. I wanted to put 5 in one day, but it's technically 48 hours. So there's that. Let me back out of this a little bit to right here. Now, our indices were at 222. They dropped just a tad to 216. So dropped a little bit. It's better than going up. All right. These have also dropped, and our area has dropped as well. So kind of a little bit of good news to report. You can see like the coming out of the storm, we're receding from red to yellow, now back to green, as long as we don't have more of these X flares kicking out. But we'll see. That can well, just like our weather, it depends on these spheres and what they're doing. All right, so let's just move on. Here are X flare potentials 40%. Probably should be a little bit higher. It's down that low because of our indices dropped. But that's what happened last time. Our indices dropped and boom, we had an X flare. So X flare potential still pretty high, even though it says 40%. Make it 50 or whatever. It's still pretty high. If you look here, we have 3 X flares in a row without a single M flare in between. We have 1 M flare and then another X flare. There are more X flares on the chart than there are M flares. 5 to 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 X flares to 3 M flares. So there's a growing trend of X flares. And it has been growing for a while. I don't know if people have noticed, but there has been a growing trend in X flares and their strength. This X 8.7, we're getting up there. All right, so now over here for our geomagnetic forecast for the next 3 days, they're calling all clear. Now, this is where I get a little concerned. As soon as this geomagnetic grip lets go, we might experience some activity, some earthquake or volcanic activity. We'll see. I've been watching some other things, and we may have gotten lucky, and all the energy we absorbed has been vented. So we'll get into that though. So for right now, there's your D layer absorption. We haven't taken on anything. This flare did come off a different region now. Okay, so part of it struck us a little bit, but it's no longer on the D layer movie anymore. So it's been bumped off. So getting down to our sunspots, we got these 4 sunspots, 36, 70, 76, 79, and 82. All right. Now all of a sudden 79 is beta gamma delta. All right. So we have to watch this one closely. And then we got this one, 3682, that's beta gamma. This is the one that I think kicked off this X flare right here, and it's on the incoming limb. So get ready to hear about 3682 and possibly 79 now that it's gone beta gamma delta. So coming over here right now, you can see our KP is very light. We're under 3. We've been under K3, under 3 for a while now, which is good. We need a break from the space weather. We need a break from all this energy. This big old chunk of energy should translate into something pretty healthy. But from some of the indicators I'm seeing, we may have vented it already. We'll see here. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next 48 hours here. So here's your auroras at the moment. A little bit of yellow starting to show up in this part right here. So we are getting hit with a slight geomagnetic storm. You see how thick and solid green they are. They're not wispy or anything. And I don't know if the camera is doing it justice. Just a hint of yellow in there. So we'll probably see back on the KP here in a few, a small little uptick, maybe to 4 or 5 or something, as we take on a slight little bit of energy right there. All right, now, before we get in that article, let's open up the tracker real quick and do some track-a-lacking. That one. All right, first of all, we've seen this blast wave going that way. All right. And let's just open up this one. Okay, so they're tracking that big one, still going that direction, which is good. We don't need anything coming our direction. But as we pull this up, well, let's take a peek at what we got here, because please, Lord, I forgot to pray. Thank you. Sometimes you got to pray every time you click. There we go. See, I was looking at this right here on their chart. I want to see what kind of impact they're talking about there. So let's load up the movie here. This is Earth's line right here. So we're watching the green line right there. It's just from the coronal hole or something going by us. Then whatever's spewing out this intense arm right here, probably a coronal hole. And you see the CME going, well, way behind us. I'll let that play again. All right, so just a little uptick in plasma density for this little coronal hole stream probably, and then you can see our CME coming out, just barely clipping us to the left. Okay, so just a slight impact, maybe around 14th, 15th right there. Or that was the old one. Today's the 15th. They're not showing anything after that, so never mind. Forgetting that we're already into the 15th, so that'll be this time frame anyway. All right, back it up. Get out of there. All right. Please, Lord. Go back out of this. There we go. Okay, so coming out of my first solar cycle, 23 as a Hammer U operator. This is about him. Okay, here we go. Another major solar flare, but this time from an active region just beginning to turn into view off the east limb now. It is possible that the group responsible is old AR 3654 from the previous rotation. The latest flare, an X2.99 event, just peaked at 1438. Okay, so when we this is not good. We got another one rotating into our range. Now, this is old Sunspot 3654, all right? And it had kicked out a bunch of stuff. It's made it back around, and now it has a new number, and it's the new number was AR 3682, I think. Right? Where'd it go? So this is what I want to point out is the one that just left, all right, 3664, the one, the historic one that's rotating off the limb now. When it rotates back around, I bet you in a couple weeks we're going to be reading an article about old Sunspot 3664. All right, that's 3654. In a couple of weeks, I bet you we'll see something coming rotating around, and it'll have a new number, and they'll be like, yeah, that's old Sunspot 64. All right, so here we have, this is an example right here of one that has made it all the way around, and as it crests the limb, it's spitting out X 2.9. All right, so an X3 basically. All right, now we're counting flares, and I said 10. Well, tack on the other two that we just saw, make that 12 flares, and this thing just won't stop. AR-64, now located behind the west limb, produced as 3.4, X 3.4, okay? And because the sunspot group is no longer in view, the X-ray event itself was possibly even stronger. It will be interesting to see how the active region survives the rotation across the far side of the sun, and that is how 12 X flares produced by 64. So 12 X flares came out of 64 in its rotation around from limb to limb, right? Here's a new one, already kicked out an X3, okay? Let's hope it doesn't do the same thing limb to limb as 64. Old 54 hopefully doesn't do the same as 64. Okay. And then that was yesterday, the largest solar flare of the current solar cycle. So just in the last 48 hours, we've had our largest one. A couple of other larger ones. All right. These aren't the 1.0. These are, a 3 and a 3.4. Just a couple of days ago, we had a couple other large ones too. So we're getting multiple X flares per day, getting larger ones, and we're also, I want to check the sunspot here. Where was I here? Okay, yeah. So now we can come back up, check the sunspot. So 82, I think it is. It's this one right here coming around the limb. So there's 79. That's the one that went beta gamma delta right there. Are you kidding me? That's the one that went beta gamma delta? Yeah, it was 79, wasn't it? Yep. 3679 beta gamma delta is this one right there, coming around to the strike zone. Now, that's our beta gamma delta that's high X flare potential. And here's the one rotating on the limb that's already spitting out X flares. So here we go. Watch out for all of these in a row here. You might be in for another round. And we're still under a proton storm, 99% there. Okay, so we're still taking on energy. All right, enough of that. Let's get on over to this other article over here. When does the sun change so this cools down, and how long? The sun isn't going to change. It's going to keep getting worse. See, there's a condition that happened. Something happened, and I can't really say it in this part of the show. We talk about it in the spiritual part of the show, okay? All right, so let's get back to this. The geomagnetic storm watch was canceled. A series of off-target CMEs emitted by the departing sunspot missed the Earth. As a result, today's minor geomagnetic storm watch was canceled. Yay, thank you, because we don't need any more energy right now, okay? Whew, we dodged some of the bullets, too, so that's good. So our monster sunspot targets Mars. First Earth, now Mars. Carrington-class Sunspot 64 is now directly facing the red planet. Boom, boom. 3664 is rotating around, and now Mars can see it. You can see the sunspot from Mars. That's how big it is. And there's old 63 up there as well. Okay, so if this thing keeps, stays healthy and vibrant and makes it all the way around, we're going to have problems when it comes back around. Now, Perseverance rover saw it yesterday through the dusty air. Okay, on May 14th, produced the X8 solar class flare, the strongest of the cycle, and it hurled the corresponding CME directly towards Mars as well. NASA models suggest it should hit Mars on May 17th, potentially sparking global auroras. They're going to have auroras on Mars. We're bracing for impact, says Nick Schneider of the University of Colorado. All right, Schneider works with the ultraviolet camera on the rover there, okay, which may be able to observe the display. So stay tuned. All right, so the flares will continue until morale improves. All right, you guys, morale. We gotta boost the morale so we can stop this. All right. So, but until the flares will continue until morale improves. A new source of solar flares is emerging over the sun's southeast limb now. On May 15th, it emitted a dramatic X3 class explosion shown here in a movie from NASA Solar Dynamics. That's our new one. All right, so just when we get rid of one, we inherit a new one. Yeah, yeah, Hopkinson. I hope everybody's getting ready. Okay. All right, I was just responding to the chat there. I love my peeps, especially Hopkinson. She's been one of my most loyal ones so far. Now, extreme ultraviolet radiation from the flare ionized the top of Earth's atmosphere, causing the shortwave radio blackout. Okay, we saw that. The source of this flare will rotate over the sun's limb this week, making future explosions more squarely Earth directed and potentially hurling CMEs in our direction. Stay tuned. All right, everybody, hold on. We just got rid of a big bad boy, and here comes another one. Now, let's come on over to the Schumann here. And since our event right here, which wasn't very intense, I'm expecting a big, huge grinding session, right? From all this energy that we took in. Let me just pull up this real quick so I can bounce back and forth a little bit. Please, Lord, can I have that? Thank you. All this energy right here should relate a little bit more. But when I look at this, we had our event. We've had some relief. It got weak. This is our typical, response. And now we're going into just some normal activity. It seems there is a little bit of scraping around the edges right there, but from what I see, pressure got released. This was a multi wave pressure release. See how it fluctuates? It goes wow and then back down. Wow, release. Boom, release of pressure. So if all these little increases and releases, increase, release, that is, I guess, that is our pressure being released in intervals, small intervals over the course of time. And this could be it right here. And we're not going to see any more grinding until we get another solar storm. And if this is the case, and we have these, these fluctuations like this with a break, we get another little impact, and it grinds and then releases a little bit, starts to grind again, get a release. You see the fluctuating. I think we found like a happy balance the Earth has as far as perforations and release points for earthquakes and volcanoes to release this pressure down below. All right. I could be wrong on this too as well. But from what I see right here, we had a little dip right here, got a little weak right there, but now we got some good continuity. So everybody should be feeling a little kind of back to normal, not so achy, painy, and I don't know, your ears might still be ringing, but that's from something else. Anyways, there's a good Schumann report. It looks like our pressure has been released. I see just some grinding here going across the top, an indication that we might be going into another event. See how this one has these short lines up here before the event? So we're seeing those same ones. So we might be going into another grinding event, but it sure would be nice if this was our big blast absorption grinding release event right here. And it wasn't such a big, brutal one slam, you're done. Now, let's get on over here to null school. Pop this open. Take a look at our upper jet stream here. Okay, we got this Pacific Northwest moisture coming in halfway into the country, rotating, going right back out to the Pacific. Okay, crazy setup we have here. Usually, we're ending the season of spring. We're getting more towards summer, where this should be a little more organized and not so jumbled and unorganized. If you look down, well, theirs is a little jumbled too. So I guess it's still transition season, and we're still, kind of going through this very violent transitioning. Anyways, our main one is taking a lot of the moisture right back out, or a lot of the cold air right back out to sea. You see there's a small little peel off that does blend in. We got one putting, look at this. Round spheroid object right around there is totally diverting this wind, peeling off a piece of this wind and adding it to a little peel off. Look, there's another one peeling stuff off here and slamming cold air, moist air right in this one little small patch right there. Interesting. Look at this over here. These airflows. Where did I see it? Looks like there's another right here. And I know that they're real. They're there. They exist. I witnessed it in my own weather. I saw it on the weather app and then witnessed it in my own skies. So, and we've seen it on these instruments. And when you see it, look at totally straight flow like this, something's reaching in and peeling away just a little bit. There's got to be something right there. That's usually where I see them, is they do stuff like that right there. They reach into a natural flow and peel part of it away. So we're seeing that activity in our upper jet. Let's go a little lower. There's our corresponding lower jet. And take it down. You can see a lot of intense storm, or a lot of intense wind is taking storms into this area. All right. Some of it's recycling and going back out. But look at this thing winding up out there. So let's go down to our weather now. Okay, we got this big old thing winding off the coast right there. Here's this storm approaching the Pacific Northwest right there. And then we still have this flow where wind is coming right off, or moisture coming right off the Gulf, taking it right up through the middle of the country. Our little diversion spot has like divided it and pushed it, and like joined it with the tail of this. So there's inflow for this, right? This is now kind of hooked up into the inflow of that one. So we're seeing almost like a little, it's like this storm reached out and grabbed that one and said, come on. And it's like pulling it in a little bit. So, and then we have this very hard rotation right there at the surface, or well, up at 850. So we're going to see some strange weather probably in this region tomorrow. We'll see here. Let's get to the weather report. But for right now, there's that. Let's get on over to our sandstorm real quick. Please, Lord, can we have the sandstorm? Take that out. All right. There we go. Africa is huge. Most of North Africa, just one big sandstorm, okay? You got over here by Saudi Arabia, Iran, a little dust kicking up there. A pretty healthy one going over by the Gobi Desert right there. And then you can see it's spread out all over the place. And I'll put the winds back on there. And you can see how winds are taking this sand all the way across the Atlantic and depositing it right here on the northern part of South America. You can also see our jet stream pattern is taking the air or taking the sand that's coming into this region and pulling it up into the United States of America here. So they're going to see some hazy skies in here. Remember last couple of years ago where we had those days where there's red sun and it wasn't from forest fires, it was because of the sand that it made it through. So you can see it. It's right here, right in the Gulf, ready to kind of come into the country. And we already kind of got some floating around already. So your skies are already kind of hazy in the first place. And a lot of it's due to this. Okay, so major sandstorms been going on. This one was going on in November of last year, since November of last year, and has not let up since. That's a historic, ongoing, 3-4 month long? No, wait, we're in May. 6 month long sandstorm all through winter and spring. Okay, let's come on over to the SO2. Oh, we need to take the winds off here. All right. Zoom in here on America. All right. One side bleeding out, the other side kind of pockmarked here and there, but there's your country divided. And now what we're going to do is kind of look around. Remember we had all that patchiness here because of the flooding, and then it was over here because of the flooding. Some of that flooding has been relieved. Now we've got some up here. Okay, so we have a patch right here where there's no gas escaping the ground because of the flooding in that region. But otherwise, the rest of it's still bleeding out SO2. That's from down below, pressure pushing it out. As well as take it to them. Oh, well, there's still a couple right there. Seems like maybe the ones that were right here got removed because we were looking at them last night. All right. Well, anywho, moving on. You can see we do have pressure up there in Canada, pushing out a lot of the gas up in that region up there. Okay. Now let's move it on over here. Remember what I told you last night? They didn't want you knowing that. I'm gonna take the fires off now. All right. Now, slow down, Brian. Back them up to their daytime. There you go. All right. So here's China during their day. They got lots of pressure, a lot of SO2 emissions coming out of their ground. You see different hot spots forming. Little spots are venting more than other regions. Here's Java, our little relief valve, doing pretty good. 2 little good dark spots right there, pumping out plenty SO2, relieving the pressure in that area. Okay. I forgot to do this one. Bingo. Please. All right. Going into our fulcrum point. It's decent. Nothing too big. The other ones are kind of filling in, actually. I think maybe some of this energy's being a little bit diffused to the other ones. Say you've got one big hole in the skin of the balloon, right? And it's letting out most of the air, and you poke 3 little small ones next to it, and they complement it, right? And relieving pressure. But one of these holes eventually gets bigger, and it gets it pumps out, it lets out a little more pressure. And this one tears a little bit and gets bigger and lets out a little more pressure. So they seem to be darkening because of their just size, too. Indication that there is some pressure in the area, too. Look at all that. And especially down here. Boom, 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 really dark through that area. And it's relieving a lot of pressure right there. We haven't seen a lot of big quakes off the coast of Chile, have we? And that's good because it's relieving a lot of pressure in that area. And then here at Java, this is like our little relief valve. So we do see quakes around it and stuff. So now what I want to do is come on over to the ocean, we got to go back 8 hours for that, right? Okay. Okay, your temperature anomalies, hot patches on the ocean. Well, on the ocean floor, coming up through the water column, making hot patches out in the Pacific. You can see it all around Tamumasi there. Here's, Japan. And you would think that this is flowing down the coast, but let me put on the currents. And you'll see they're going the opposite direction. So this pool of hot water is not flowing down. There's hot water off the shore flowing up to a spot that's already hot. And then when it comes out of there, it hits cold water and turns warm. And there's your main current. Let me put it right there. Now, I want you to think about this. All this area over here, do you think it's coming from this? Do you think this one weak little current has put all of that out there? Because look, this goes through cold water. It turns from hot to warm because the cold and the warm, hot mix. All right, so let me put it back on. After coming through this cold water, do you think that this stream is the source of that hot water? Obviously not. It's an independent site of its own. And come over to here. Here's your currents. Do you think this is contributing to that? Here, I'll put it way up close. There's your currents. Nope. Independent of all of its own. Okay, so we got some big hot water issues going on there, and that's because magma's pushed up to the bottom side of the crust, and it's coming out and creating hot spots on the ocean floor, and this is creating animals from lower down in the water column, your bottom dwellers, your cold, deep water dwellers, now have to come up through the water column searching for cold water. So now you got creatures from down deep looking for a place to come up. And they're searching for colder waters. So where's colder waters away from this? Well, right there. So people in the Bay Area get ready to see Godzilla. I mean, you might see something wash up on your shores. And I'll show you something that was captured by an oil platform that's quite disturbing. Okay, got this heat patch. I can take the currents off now. Heat patch out here in the Indian Ocean as well. Okay, I'm going to pull back a little bit. Southern Hemisphere isn't free of this problem. They got their issues as well. Here's South America, here's Antarctica. This whole region is some of the coldest water in the world, right? Look at these hot patches all the way around Antarctica. Well, almost all the way around Antarctica. Here's your cold water. Just this thin little ring around Antarctica. Here. That should scream volumes right there. Let's do it to the other side real quick. Let's see what we can do. Actually, we look in better shape than the bottom half does. I don't know. Anyways, here's your heat anomaly report for tonight. And we're going to leave that part up, and I'm going to get over to the earthquake report here. And some of the questions I want to answer, but the answers are so disturbing. that we're gonna have to start answering some of them during or while we're get the spiritual report in there as well, so you guys can understand a little more. So deep quake activity finally right here. If we can have that one, Lord, please. Earthquake map. Can it work, please? Thank you. All right, 4.4 down at 534. So finally a deep quake, and it's a mid-range 4. So by the time this pressure reaches down deep and that burp comes back up, we're going to see a deep quake. All right. And the magnitude of that deep quake should be a great indicator of the pressure built up down there. So our deep quake, which from looking at all that energy came in, should have been maybe a 7 or possibly even more down at depth, is a 4.4. That tells me our pressure is just right back to normal. And then when we come over here and we look at the Schumann, and there's no huge spike after this, I think we relieved all the pressure and we're back to normal. Because it sure looks like that's what the instruments are indicating. So, and then when you look, let me just pull back a little bit. See how widespread our earthquake activity is? There's just, one over here, one. They're like very widespread out. We'll get into this though, okay? So, my reasoning behind all this is because this magnitude, the magnitude of this first deep quake after our absorption period, that would be our first good indicator. Now, if there were a couple deep quakes of 4.4, or there was a 4.4 and 2 5s that were down deep, that would be an equivalent of that deeper 7, right? But it's only one quake, and it's our regular mid-range 4. So that's what tells me that the Earth has regulated the pressure properly, because we endured all the absorption, and our first deep quake is a 4.4. Now, mind you, we are still kind of in this magnetic grip right here. And these ones aren't going to produce CMEs coming our way. Whoops. So, back here, that one. So when I get into this earthquake report and we're starting with a 4.4, that's good news. I hope this is the case. Because right now is when we're supposed to be seeing, well, once that magnetic grip lifts, but I said the 16th, and we're getting into the 16th here, we'll see what our earthquake thing produces. All right, but so far we've seen a deep quake, and it was just our regular activity. Now, coming up to our latest quake right here, a 5.4 at the surface, right on a little boundary right there, relieving energy. 5.2 at the surface, relieving energy. Coming over here to island of Java, okay, right here in that little spot again. This is the same one. Oh yeah, because we did this a little earlier. So it's still on the map. The 5 that struck there, that's down at 257 too. It's not a shallow quake. If we look here, what I kind of want to do is this whole region, dark blue, is deeper. This whole region is up on a shelf. Okay, so when we zoom in, I want you to see, where's Java right there? Okay. This is a canyon down in below there. The fault itself is way down in a canyon. This slopes down, and this is like almost a sheer cliff dropping right down to the very bottom. Okay, so this whole area up above here is like a plateau. That water's shallower. It's a plateau compared to the depth of this region. All right, so when you see a surface quake here, it's right there at the surface. This one is down at 257. It's way down under that plateau. Way down in here. If you could like stab this thing through the screen like like you take a pin to your shirt and pin something on, if we could run this needle through the screen and go straight down into the ground there, that quake's way down there underneath this plateau in there. So that's a deep quake for that plateau. So that tells me pressure in that region right there is pushed up and formed that quake right there. And this is right where we see our volcanoes going off on Java. So here's our spot of weakness, our spot of least resistance, where a lot of the energy is escaping and being vented, and thus I call it our little relief valve. Moving on up over 4.5 down at 156. Look how naked that whole area is, and that's the area with the hot water going off the coast. There's Tamumasi out there. There's Hawaii. Let's come on over here. We did those. Nothing through this whole fracture zone, though, so it's still really quiet. We do have a 4.2 here at the surface in China. A couple of fulcrum points at 4.2 down to 108, and a 4.5 at the surface there. Coming on over here. 4.4 here in Greece down at 57. Now, boundary quakes. Out here we had a 5.3 on the mid-Indian Ridge. 5.3 matching magnitude on the mid-Atlantic Ridge. Here's your diverse quake at the southern tip of Africa. 3.5. That's right at the surface. 5 there. Very shallow quake. South America real quick. 5.2, 4.3, 4.4, and 4.3. So it doesn't look like much, but that's energy being relieved at the surface. This is too. This is too. So our earthquake activity, these two also, we are seeing our earthquake activity. Pressure is being relieved in 5.3 magnitude range. It's perfect. I think our planet kind of found a little happy medium of relieving pressure. And this is what I was talking about last night. It's important that we observe what happens here, because now we know what to expect. When this magnetic grip releases, we won't see such a violent reaction. We might still see a bigger quake, but it looks like, from what I'm seeing here, this all on boundaries, all at the surface, relieving energy at the surface. We did finally get our deep quake, and the indicator was 4.4. Well, that's our normal activity. So that's good news. And I pray it stays that way, and we just keep moving forward from there. And we have found a happy medium of holes, perforations in the surface for a fair amount of pressure when it builds up. So not only, let's just put it this way, the X flare, the geomagnetic storm, has been a good test. We've learned that our communications, our grid can handle, that level of a storm. We've learned a little bit also that our geomagnetic activity is attuned to having a bigger blast. So as long as we don't see a bigger quake and we just keep doing this mid-range 5 stuff, that is awesome. Okay? I don't want to see a big quake. I don't want to have to come on here and tell you guys, I told you so, there was a 10 and it wiped out the whole Northern Pacific or something like that, okay? I don't want to be doing that. I want to see things work properly. And this is what it's doing. It appears to be to me. I'll let you be the judge of that as well. Okay? That was a lot of energy that we took in. Okay? This is just a different version of the same graph. This is further back in history. I keep pointing to this because it's already off the chart here. But here's You could use either one of them. These are just different sites that recorded the same event. Okay, so a lot of energy that came in that needs to be, dealt with. And so far, our earthquakes seem to be doing a pretty good job. Now let's get on over here, please, Lord, to the volcano report. Let it open. Okay, good. All right, we're already into the. Oh, excuse me. We're already into the 16th. Okay, and please, Lord, we added there. Ebu. All right. Now, Ebu, it keeps climbing in altitude. Now it's at 21,000 feet. This little guy was pumping like 7,000. It wasn't a big achiever. Well, it is now 21,000 feet. There's a lot of your pressure right there. 21,000 feet out of this smaller volcano. Explosive activity continues. Darwin warned about a volcanic ash plume that rose to 21,000, moving in direction. The intense activity from the volcano continues. Another stunning explosion took place from the cinder cone early this morning. 21,000 feet. Okay. Luatobi, 6,000 feet. Okay. Semeru, usually 15. Oh, there it is. Yeah, 15,000. Tucono, 9,000. Popocatépetl, 18,000 feet. Fuego, sporadic emissions. Sangay, 20,000. That's usually higher, but that's Reventador, 14. So here, all these tens of thousands of, feet are all pressure being released too. So, Sabancaya. Let's get into what was today and is now yesterday. If we can, Lord. All right. So, here we are at the 15th. Ebico, 14,000 feet. Sakurajima, 7,000 feet. Ebu, again, 21,000 feet. See, that's a big blast. That's the same blast, but there's our higher blast out of a smaller volcano. That's some pressure right there got relieved via volcanoes. Luatolo in the Lesser Sunda Straits. Okay, that's the Sunda Straits is right in between Sumatra and Java there. It's that little channel. Would they have? I'm not going to click on that. We go too far. 15,000 feet out of Semeru. All right. Popocatépetl, 21,000. See, there's a higher number out of Popo. 21. Fuego, 16. Reventador, we saw in the other one. Sabancaya, 25,000 feet. There's another higher blast right there. Ubinus, unable to detect. All right, so here's your little list. All right, all these are currently erupting, so don't even need to list them off. You can read them as we go. I'm going to point out some ones to watch out for, like Cotopaxi. All right, it could go. Etna, still one to watch. It pumps out smoke rings when it's letting you know it's about to go. Gamalama, Kilauea is still having quake swarms and not really going off. Krakatau, that's in the Sunda Strait as well. Okay, over in, between Java and Sumatra there. Kluchevskoy up in the Kamchatka. Watch that one carefully. It could come to the back, go active again. Again, Nevada del Ruiz should be over here. It's always active. Rayung in East Java. That could hop over here. Here's Ruang. That one we got to watch. That could pop over there. All right, and the rest of those, Ubinus in Peru. Over here, we got Stromboli still going off, Suenosi Jima, Tinakula, Villarica, Yasur. See, Yasur here in Vanuatu. There's a volcano also emitting pressure, and at Vanuatu, we were seeing the quake activity in this region right there. right here. So we have a volcano going off, and we saw that big quake and swarm go off right there. So that was one of our weak spots, is at Vanuatu, and that's the volcano there is Yasur. All right, so we'll watch that one kind of carefully too. It might see a bigger blast. All right, so that's it for all that. Let me get the forecast up here. Oh, please, Lord, can we have the GFS model, Lord, please? All right. Well, meantime, while we're waiting for this to pull up for the GFS model, I showed you the other night these spherical objects moving through the air, uh, controlling, determining our weather, guiding it, forming it, possibly. Well, forming it as well. And, oh, please. Lord, thank you. All right, we'll let this load up. So, our weather forecast. Now, I don't know if you guys paid attention to what happened today. There was some tornado action stirred up here in Texas. And I pulled out the weather radar app, and I've seen these things moving again. And they're on the move, and they're changing storms' direction. They're causing air mass collisions. I watched one orb drive a storm south into stuff that was coming north. The storm chasers are chasing it, and when it collided, they had to travel south. They had to turn around and go the other direction because the one that was coming down from the north was the one controlling everything, and it came down like this and just kept going. And everybody was going this way. I went, whoa, it's going that way. And they're following the storms, but the storms are being created by the sphere itself. And when you see the trajectory that the sphere is going, you can see where your storms are going. A whole new way of looking at weather. When I watched today, I could see exactly where it was going. And then they're like, oh, here it is. It's going that way. Yep, I can see it. All right, so let's just get into, for right now, our current conditions. There's the morning of the 16th, noon, convection, nighttime. Nighttime of the 16th down here, Texas, Oklahoma, we have added energy, maybe from, well, maybe not from the sun anymore, because they're calling for everything all clear. So maybe this won't be so bad, and it'll be similar to that right there, nighttime of the 16th. So tomorrow night in Texas, Louisiana, even Arkansas, Oklahoma, everybody be on alert that it's going to be another round of thunderstorms and tornadoes possible at night. There's the morning of the 17th, Louisiana, Mississippi, going into Alabama by the noontime, and then by convection, all that dissipates, and a new trough forms back here along the coastline. You see stuff moving up in there. Watch out up here in Canada. That's a nasty low as well. Let me back up one. See that right there? All right. And we go to noontime. Oh, no, sorry. That's the convection. Nighttime, it blossoms up here, possibly off the coast, right in this region. This thing is really swirling hard. You see it convecting and causing severe weather at nighttime up in, North Dakota, up into Canada. There's the morning of the 18th. Very intense weather down here and very intense weather up there. Let's get into noon the 18th. Nighttime, or convection, sorry. That's the convection right there. So this could be a little stronger. I'm going to be watching this one because this is where we caught our spherical object controlling the weather again. All right. And when it got to this region, it got very defined. So convection of the 18th, I'm going to be watching around there to see if I can capture it again. Actually, I can't capture it. My my other device broke, so I can only watch it from the one I recorded. I'm going to figure out how to screen capture all that stuff now. Anyway, back to the nighttime of the 18th. Back up, there's convection the 18th and nighttime the 18th. So along the coast here, South Carolina, Tennessee, possibly Georgia, even morning of the 19th, noon, convection, nighttime. 20th, noon, convection, nighttime. 21st, noon, convection, nighttime. Watch out up in there, nighttime of the 21st, possibly even down in here in Arkansas. All right, morning of the 22nd, noon, convection, nighttime. 23rd, noon, convection, nighttime. 24th, that's the morning of the 24th. Noon, convection, nighttime. Morning of the 25th, noon, convection, nighttime. And the rest of this is so far out in advance that it'll definitely change by then. All right. Let me get that loop playing while I kind of X out of some of these other ones, and we'll get ready for tonight's spiritual report. Okay. And just to kind of get into answering the question that was asked earlier about our sun. All right. Everybody take a deep breath. And Lord, please give them strength, courage to absorb what I'm about to tell them. Okay, I've shown you this before, and here's the problem. I'm going to pull it up right now. See, we have an issue. The sun has an issue. And the sun's issue is see this big thing? Resembles a black hole. Matches the definition of many different objects, neutron star, black hole, whatever. We're caught in the gravity well of a black hole. We're caught in the gravity well of a black hole. And we're going zooming past it. You know, we do like these elliptic passes by it, and every time we go by it, it rips, you know, the sun, it latches onto the sun and rips stuff off. Now, this object, it appears on the radar like it's moving past the sun. But physics would dictate that this is way more massive. And if it has way more mass, then we're rotating around it. And that would make sense why we see it at different times, different angles, because we're like in an elliptical orbit going around it and zooming out a little bit and coming way back at another angle. So I believe that's possibly our problem. Okay. Whether we're in a gravity well or what, this type of object and its activity, its interactions with the sun, is what's going to be causing the sun's problems. Okay, it's not that the sun has an issue, it's fighting all these objects. These objects keep, you know, latching onto it. Now, kind of the way things have been appearing, there's several of these bigger ones. All right, it's not just this one. So that makes me think that we're in a region of space that has a bunch of these giant stellar cores. This is the core of a star. All right, it's the dead core of a star, the core of a dead star. It's so massive, it just eats and kills things. It's looking for electrons, protons, anything to to get back to a normal phase of matter. This is what you would call dark matter. It's so dense, and the atoms are so squeezed, so packed so tightly close to each other that their electrons cannot rotate around the atom. Okay, that's how dense it is. So dense that the atom's electron cannot rotate around it, and the electron gets kicked off. Well, when the electron gets kicked off, that's a negative charge. A corresponding positive charge follows that event. So as soon as the electron kicks off, the proton gets taken with it, leaving just your neutron. Now you have a dead piece of matter that is just a neutron, that is so tightly packed together that it's so dense that it absorbs light. It doesn't reflect light. All right, that's how you see stuff, is light bounces off something into your eye. Well, light doesn't bounce off of this. It absorbs light. The only way you can see it is if a plasma is draped over it, painting the target. All right, it's invisible, like an invisible table. You throw a tablecloth over it, all of a sudden it paints the corners, the edges. You can see a table. This is the same effect. I call it silhouetting. That's what it's called. It's silhouetting the object so you can see it. This flow that's going around it like this didn't just happen to be a CME in that shape. It's reacting to a spheroid, which is a ball-shaped object, clearly. Okay, and if they told you this on the news, it would probably ruin everybody, right? But that's why I saved this for the spiritual part of the show, because even though this is big, bad, and scary, there's something else that's even bigger, badder, and scarier than this. And it's not an object. All right, so that seems to be our condition. And the further time goes on, the more interactions we're having with this thing. Let me pop this open again and pull up a... So now, instead of having an X flare every 2 weeks, it's down to one a week. And then instead of having one a week, it's 2 a week, and then 3 a week, and then 4 a week, and then 1 every day, and then 2 a day, sometimes 3 in one day, because we're getting closer and closer and closer. We keep making passes. Our orbit is deteriorating. Our orbit around this is deteriorating. And we're getting closer and closer to it, making pass after pass after pass. We're getting closer. And we're seeing more and more like this. It's causing this activity on our sun, these sunspots. A lot of the other bodies that like to orbit such a big body like this, the satellites that I refer to, okay, those satellites also have made of the same material, okay. They have the same effect, just in small, depending on the sphere size or mass, it would have different magnitudes of effect. So different magnitudes, like say for instance 64, that was probably a bigger object. This one might be a smaller little moon or something. And boy, when 64 was right over in this region, there I saw a video. It was one of these ones. I wish I could find it again. I think it was one of these little movies right here of this spectrum. And you could see the sphere was right up next to the region, to the complex. The sunspot complex is what it was. And there was a spheroid object like right there. And I'm not, just for instance, this isn't it, but you see this round effect. You could see our round spheroid shape, like I showed you in the weather. You could see it sitting right there, and everything was crackling and touching the edges of it. Okay, so there was nothing striking in the middle. It was striking all the way around and hitting the edges of that spheroid. And you could see the spheroid sitting right next to the sun was causing all this popping and crackling. And it's not the sun going, coughing and spitting out stuff. There's a magnet sitting right next to it, inducing it. The object itself just sat there. What the? Do you guys see this right here? Well. I was just sitting there. Look at this. There's one right there. This is the same activity we saw back in 2012. Remember, we saw these orbs sitting here pulling tornadoes off, and then they zip away. Hang on, I'm looking to see if I see any other of that kind of activity. And it's hard to tell because these are all loops. They already look like circles in the first place. So you would think it would be a loop that you're looking at, except it doesn't. The loops expand and contract. This was a solid round structure that did not expand, contract. It was clearly an object sitting right off the sunspot, and the thing was crackling all the way around, striking like lightning around the edges of the spheroid. Now look at this. What's going on down there? Yeah, see, these things are more than just passing by the sun and getting caught in the SDO imagery. They're also right up next to it, interacting with it and causing it to roil and do all kinds of things. Have you guys seen the sun when it's at solar minimum and it's just barely glowing? It's all black with a couple of little yellow spots sticking out. Look how vibrantly glowing the sun is right now. It is just like on fire. Well, it is, but so I'm just kind of looking to see if I could locate it again. This movie appears to have like started. The data is like way after when I saw the event, but I'm gonna keep watching to see if I can find another one. And when I do, I'll point it out. This almost appears to be something going on right there. So when we got these sunspots that are rotating around the limb coming in our direction, right? It might be because there's something right there inducing it. All right, I think we might back out. All right, but that's a very, very glowing sun, very active. Let's see what goes on up here again. And then you can see, like before when I showed you on the SDO in our difference model, you don't get to see this part of the sun. This is all behind the occulter. All right. So when you see the snap off, that's that spaghettification when the object has pulled way far away and is leaving the screen, and you see the spaghettification stretch and then the release of magnetic material. You see that little snap finally release. And that's what they think is their CME popping out sometimes too. So we got different factors that contribute to all this. All right. Now, what I'm looking at here is this nice gradual slope down, nice calm. We're in the middle of it. We're at low C range. So it looks like maybe we went through the bumpy patch. We're kind of heading back out a little bit in our orbit. It's going to quiet down maybe for a little while, hopefully. We'll see. But it's because of this interactions with these bigger objects. Now, what's unfortunate about your education that you got in school is they covered this stuff up. They taught you all sorts of different stuff instead of the truth, right? You guys all learned evolution, right? Well, come to find out, weren't they wrong about evolution, huh? And y'all got taught that all these generations were taught evolution. We grew from monkeys. No, you're a divine entity. Here, let me prove it to you. Here, let me just show you that you're no monkey. Okay. You were modeled after that, after Jesus. Okay, you're a divine entity. You are a spiritual being in a meat suit having a human experience. Okay, it's not the other way around. It's not a human having a spiritual experience. For the blind, it is, but for the people who have eyes to see, it's not. Okay, big difference in perspective there. And when calamity comes and all this stuff looks very scary, you can look at this. calm down, take some deep breaths, and know that it's part of the process. It's part of the plan. Go read the Bible. It tells you the whole script. It's the script for the movie. Thus, the scriptures. Okay? And it's a story about a hero. Okay? It's a good guy comes to town to save the day, rescue his family, right? Ow. Sorry, I gotta stand up and stretch. Broken body here. Sometimes just sitting there. Okay, so we got that image pulled up, and we're going to get away from the space weather and all of that theme for right now, and we're going to get into the spiritual realm a little bit now. And I noticed there's a few other people here now, so what were we going to do? Oh, and I clicked out of it. Shoot. All right, well, we can start right here real quick. I found... pretty hard to find too. We had this event about a year or so ago, similar to what was happening just recently with our tornadoes and stuff. We had a tornado that hit Florida. And one of the storm chasers recorded was recording a car flipping over. Okay, and in this was captured an electromagnetic voice print on this gentleman's video. Okay, and it says my name. It says Brian Knight is coming. He's coming like a lion. All right, so we're gonna play this real quick. The video part is kind of not too good, not very good quality or whatever, because it was part of a storm chase video. But let me just play this for you. I'll try not to blow out your ears too much. But I found I went back and found a news article from this day on the news of this very same video. Okay, so I'll show you the video, and then I can show you the Florida news station that played this video, so you'll see that it's not, I didn't make this, okay? All right, now this gentleman didn't hear that when he was recording it, okay? That's electromagnetically imprinted on his video, digitally, like in the audio itself, all right? So it's not until you play it back that you hear it, all right? And then, it's going to show you the article where it came from here. Or was it? All right, hang on, bear with me. I'm old school. Now, there was 2 cars that were flipped that day, and the news reported a lot on the one, all right? And the event that actually, the second event where this happened right here.
I use kayak to compare hundreds of travel sites.
She's funny. I like her. She gets up there and does the job herself. Ah! All right, another commercial. So this is I think this is it. Yeah. Now here there's some of his audio. He's still talking in it. The previous video, whoever did removed the storm chaser's voice, but I believe this is it.
This is the scariest thing I've ever been in. Oh my God. I hope this stops. I just saw a car flip over in front of me. Holy God.
Did you hear what he said right after the message finished saying, all right, I'm not making this up.
Flip over in front of me. Stops. I just saw a car flip over in front of me. Holy God.
Okay, so that's the real incident right there. Okay, and it's funny what people will say, in a moment of shock or whatever, and right at the end of that message it says Brian Knight is coming. He's coming like a lion, and he's God, and he says, "Holy God." So one more time, just so you guys can laugh along. This is weird, dude. I'm not making this up. This stuff started happening to me, and I'm going, what's going on? Why are the radio talking to me? Why is all this stuff coming out of digital devices talking to me? And it's the spiritual realm communicating through your devices, electromagnetically imprinting messages on videos.
Welcome to Florida, people. Holy This is the scariest thing I've ever been in. Oh my God. I hope this stops. I just saw a car flip over in front of me. Holy God.
All right. Made the news and everything. Not making it up. They're on the news. All right. And then there's Brian Knight again. My face in the clouds. And then we'll pull up another image of my face. So those who are seeking my face will know what I look like. All right. Full screen. Oh, let's get that out of there. All right. And just real quick. All right. So let's see if I can do this right too. Doop. Before we read the message here. That might surprise you guys. Why? Remember that face that was sitting in the sky if I'm looking down like this? It's my face. Let me show you again. Okay, that's me. My face in the sky. I'm not bragging. I'm not proud about it. It's been spooky. It's been scary. It's been weird. I don't know how to explain this to people sometimes. They don't believe me when I try to tell them. They don't understand when I try to give them this beautiful gift. I try to give them this wonderful gift right here. Okay? I think you understand why I give it as a gift. It's part of who I am. All right? It's important that you guys trust me, that you understand this, and that you believe me, because that's how you are going to find your real courage, your real strength, real peace that transcends all this chaos. Okay? And you have hope. You have hope now. Even in the darkest times, like right now, you guys have hope. And that's what this is all about. It's to bring you guys courage, strength, hope, peace, healing, knowledge, love, all the great things that I love you for. Real thing. You're looking at me in the clouds, okay? And it's fascinating. You're caught up in the moment. You're caught up at what you're seeing. You're caught up in what you just heard. Okay? Now you are caught up with me in the clouds. And we're meeting in the air of cyberspace here on YouTube, because nothing is impossible with me, okay? If you guys can get a YouTube channel, don't you think I can too? I mean, you think that our planet's the only planet in the universe, the only one in our solar system, that there's no possible way that any other stellar body could possibly be in our solar system? Although it's made up of stellar bodies, there's no other way it could be any other one. So see how close-minded the world has gotten, you guys. You live in you're in a state of insanity. And let me explain just real quick before I get into this reading. So the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Okay, let me repeat that. The definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. So let me apply this to your media. You keep looking to them over and over. You keep looking to the liars. You know that the media is lying to you. They covered up the election. They cover up all the criminal stuff, and they just pacify you and get you distracted, right? So your media has been lying to you and has gotten your perspective in a way that you rely on them for information, even though you know they're the liar. So you're relying on a liar to tell you the same lies that it's insanity. And you think they're going to change. You think one day the media might, I hope maybe they'll tell us the truth about, when something big comes along, hopefully they'll tell us the truth about that. No, they just lie and they manipulate, they distract, and they've gotten this whole society in one huge a mass psychosis. The world is in a mass psychosis, and the people who aren't in the mass psychosis are the ones that are here at this channel, the ones that actually trust me at this channel. Okay? And for those who are here, who trust me, who want this, who want that peace, I want you to linger in gratitude. This is the most delightful place where the joy of my presence shines warmly upon you. Okay? Where the joy of my presence shines warmly upon you. My face shining warmly upon you. By the moon, right next to the moon. All right? The moon brings light in the darkness, doesn't it? Much like me, I bring light in the darkness. I want you to linger in my presence while it shines warmly upon you. So a lot of people often pray. They pray really hard for something until you receive the answer you desire. When I grant your request, you respond joyfully and thankfully. but your tendency is to move on rather quickly to the next matter. I want you to remain for a while in an attitude of grateful joy. So when one of your prayers has been answered, stay in it for a minute, enjoy it for a while, hold that attitude of grateful joy, okay, because you have a tendency to move on rather quickly to the next matter. So stay in it for a while, and instead of experiencing only a short-lived burst of gratitude, let this pleasure flow freely into the future by training yourself to recall what I have done. Okay, so when you're experiencing one of these bursts of gratitude, take that and let it flow into the future. Okay, so let this pleasure flow freely into the future by training yourself to recall what I have done, the sacrifice that was made. I'm going to hold right there for a second. I was in the chat rooms and we're kind of discussing things, and it's here's one way to kind of look at it for a perspective that a lot of people, we all treasure our veterans, right? Anybody who served this country and fought in combat, we respect them and we treasure them, right? So you're looking at a man who's a POW, who's a prisoner of war, spiritual war. All right. He was the good guy. A bunch of bad guys got a hold of the good guy. He was a prisoner of war who was tortured to death for your freedom and for your not only for your freedom, but for your salvation, for your future, for your hope. Now, wouldn't you honor such a veteran who gave his life in combat, who gave his life as a prisoner of war, tortured to death, so that you could be free, so you could be free of your sins? Okay? So you're looking at a spiritual warrior who gave his life. It's a sacrifice that he did, just like a veteran would do. Okay, it's any veteran would understand. Okay, it's a different. You have a different way about you because you're on a path to help others. Right, so it was important that you guys understand that even though Jesus is a peaceful man, everybody hated him, right? And he was tortured to death. So he's much like a soldier who was a prisoner of war, taken captive by the enemy and tortured to death. And all he wants is respect for the sacrifice that he did. And for people to enjoy the freedoms that came from that sacrifice. Freedoms as well as freedom from sin too. Okay. So think of him kind of in that loving way. He's your soldier hero who gave his life so that you could be free. Okay. So let that pleasure flow freely into the future and train yourself to recall what I have done. One way is to tell others about it. This blesses both them and you, and it pleases me. Another way is to write down the prayer answer someplace where you will see it again. So when your prayer was answered, what was the answer? Okay, you prayed for this, and then you saw the answer. What was the prayer answer? Okay, everybody's praying for money. Oh, if I could just get some more money, I pray for more money, more money, more money. So I give them a job. And oh, no, I don't want a job. I wanted more money. Well, they missed the whole thing and completely. God is not going to just hand you something for free. You got to kind of earn it and work for it. So when people pray for money, boom, all of a sudden a job opportunity comes up. But then they pass it. So if you prayed for money and you got a new job, your prayer answer would be job, not money. Get what I'm saying? You prayed for money, but your prayer answer wasn't money, it was job. All right. Okay. When you see your prayer answer and you acknowledge it and you say a quick thank you, any kind of thank you is acknowledgement of that answer. And when you say that thank you, it blesses you as well as it pleases me. And then you write down that prayer answer someplace where you'll see it again and again and again. It can be a reminder, hey, even though today looks rough, remember back then that prayer got answered. It's a good, healthy reminder to write these things down sometimes. And then keep bringing your gratitude to me, because this thankfulness will bless you doubly with happy memories of answered prayer. How many people have happy memories of answered prayer? Do any of you have happy memories of answered prayer? Because you probably didn't acknowledge the answered prayer. You didn't see it. Some people do see it. That's good, Cindy. Really good. And it's just a practice. The having a grateful mind and a grateful heart isn't about stroking my ego. It's to help your mental wellness. That thankfulness blesses you with happy memories of answered prayer and with the delight of sharing joy with me. Now you get to share joy with me right here and now. Some will still be alive when they see me, when they are raptured, right? When you're caught up, you're not dead yet, and you're caught up in the clouds. You're caught up with me in the clouds, yet you're not dead. So that part came true right there too. That thankful heart, thankful mind, happy memories of answered prayer. That's what makes your heart sing, makes my heart sing, and that's where we share the joy. So this is what I say. I, who made you, who formed you in the womb, and who will help you. Do not be afraid. I have always been involved in your life, even before you were born. Because you are mine, purchased with my own blood, you can count on my promise to help you as you journey through this world. This is how you gain victory over fear. Oh, victory was over fear this whole time? Yeah. Your victory is sitting right in front of you. This is how you gain victory over fear, through trusting in me, in my ever-present help, in my presence, in the strength and the courage I provide, my ever-present help. So you want victory over fear? Trust in me. This is how you gain victory. It's victory over fear, okay? No matter what the government does and how all this ends, doesn't change your fear, or it creates your fear. You're going to have victory over the fear, not victory over them. It's over your own fear. We're addressing your mind and your heart. Now, if you want to gain victory over fear, trust in me. See my ever-present help. Practice some of these things that I'm showing you, the steps. You'll find it. Now, the problem arises when you gaze too long into the future. You're trying to visualize and take control of those not yet events, those yet to come events. All right. You're trying to take control of those and you have no control over them. So that's the problem. You look into the future, you visualize this stuff, and you want to take control of events that are out of your control. This future focus can easily deteriorate into a problem focus. Okay. Even though you're future tripping, it can become a problem. Weeds of worry and fear spring up quickly in this sort of soil. Okay. When you're worrying and you're future tripping, that's where seeds of fear start to sprout and grow in that kind of soil. So when you realize this has happened, turn away from your worries and back to the one who is lovingly present with you right now. And rejoice that I will still be with you when you arrive at each coming stage of your journey. Lean hard on my presence, trusting me to help you today and all the days of your life. Okay? Rejoice that I will still be with you when you arrive at each stage of your journey, because we're going through stages. You can see it, you can feel it as we're going along now. Each week, more intense, more stuff is happening, crazier and crazier. But I will still be with you when you arrive at tomorrow. And that should kind of ease your mind a little bit. And if it doesn't, then lean hard on my presence. And what I mean by lean hard, hear my voice, see my face. You know what? Come here. Tougher than nails. Look at me. Lean into me. See my face? You see my eyes? Lean into me. I'm telling you the truth. It's not a game. You see that face up there? It's my face, just maybe a couple years younger. You lean into that, know that, trust that. I'm a man in the flesh. Once you grasp that, you have nothing to fear. And once you embrace pain, that's what you really fear is pain. When you embrace pain and you understand that it makes you stronger, thank you, Lord, for the pain. It reminds me I'm still alive. I who made you, I formed you in the womb, and I will help you. So do not be afraid. Lean hard on my presence. Okay? Lean hard on it. You can trust it now. The second coming came. It's happened. It's right now. You're in what you would call raptured. There is no word rapture in the Bible. You are caught up in this moment. You are caught up with my voice. You are caught up with my face sitting next to the moon. How is my face sitting next to the moon possible? Unless what I'm saying is true. How is this possible? My face with a crown turning into a lion face, showing up on Easter over my head on Easter. The more you trust me and lean in on me, the more peace you will have, the more you will understand your life journey with me. Okay? Every little emotion inside of you came from me, right? I know what you're feeling. We're in this emotional battle where we're trying to maintain composure the best we can in adversity. We're recognizing adversity as a blessing, not as a punishment. It makes you stronger. It's not a punishment. Okay, we got that perspective and you got that feeling in your heart. That's the rapture. That's a feeling in your heart you should have. Your faith has been completed. You now know. There's no question in your mind anymore. There is no more doubt. You are 100% convinced that you are a child of God. You're 100% convinced that you are a child of God. Not convinced of this. You're convinced that you are a child of God. If you're not convinced, well, I guess you're not a child of God. That's up to you. Once you lean on me and you trust in me, then you are a child of God. And someday you will see me as I am. Just a few minutes ago, you saw me as I am, didn't you? Someday you will see me as I am. Well, that day's today, here, right now. Look, hi, here's me as I am, reading my notes to you while we do the show. That one got accomplished pretty quick, didn't it? Okay, so today you will see me as I am. You will be face to face with me in glory. Are you guys in glory right now? Do you guys feel good that you see me? You know I'm a man and you know I'm back and you know that you are a child of God? Don't you feel a little bit better inside now? You have that lion inside of you. See this lion right there? We're awakening those lions inside of you. You have it in you too, just like me. But it won't be activated until you trust me and you lean in on me and you become that child of God that you are. Until then, I am training you to be made new in the attitude of your mind, to put on a new self. Okay? I am training you to be made new in the attitude of your mind. Okay, again, we're dealing with your mental health here. It's the worry and fear springing up in the soil. All right, your problem, future focus problem became the problem focus. You were insane. You were trusting the media until you learned you couldn't trust them. There's only one person you could trust. When you realized that, you came here, you sought me, you found me, and you became a child of God. You sought me and you found me, didn't you? Because I'm here. Because I'm here. I'm here. Unfortunately, the world doesn't want to recognize that, but they will. Now, I'm talking about this new self. It's a new attitude of your mind. It's a new feeling inside your heart. You should feel like you're floating in the clouds right now. All right? You're not literally up there, but you should feel like you are, because I am training you to be made new in the attitude of your mind and your heart. So put on this new self. That's your armor right there, is your new self. Now, although your new self is being conformed to my image, this process doesn't erase the essence of who you are. Okay? So it's still part of you tacked in with me. All right? So even though you're made in my image, this process doesn't erase the essence of you. It just enhances it. Okay? So instead, the more you become like me, the more you develop into the unique person I designed you to be. See, you were designed to be, well, like this with a crown and having power and great glory, right? You were designed to be just like me. You just don't know how to access it yet. So the more you become like me, the more you develop into the unique person. You have unique qualities. Don't try to be identical to me. I have very unique qualities spread out all across humanity. Use your uniqueness. The more you develop your uniqueness, your unique person I designed you to be, you will become more like me. The more unique you become in you. All right. It's deep stuff. Hopefully, you guys are grasping this. All right. Now, little do you know, but you have been a member of my royal family since you first came to this channel. You didn't know it back then, but you were a member of my royal family way back then. Some of you old people have been, or, old lifers that have been at this channel for a long time, is what I mean. That whole time, you were royalty. And you still are now. Isn't that awesome? So, yeah, even when you first started watching my show and you didn't know who I was, you were royalty that whole time. Yep. Thus, you are a fellow heir with me, sharing in my inheritance. Now, you must share my suffering if you are to share in my glory. So when you encounter hard times, search for me in the midst of your struggles. Ask me to help you suffer well in a manner worthy of a king's household, and everything you endure can help you become more like me. Now remember, the ultimate goal, you will see my face in righteousness and be satisfied. Are you guys satisfied? Do you know now that you will see my face in righteousness? You just did. You are a fellow heir with me in my inheritance now. But you got to share in my suffering. And if you learn to embrace pain, like I said, see it for what it is. It's making you stronger. When this first started happening to me and I didn't understand what was going on, I said, God, thank you for the pain. It reminds me I'm still alive. And I would say that quite often. Thank you for the pain. It reminds me I'm still alive, because I was dead once, and I'm alive again, and I'm just happy to be alive. And that pain sometimes is a little reminder. It makes you stronger. And if you view it as like the red badge of courage, if anybody read that book, it's a symbol that you are holy. That if you're enduring the suffering with me and you're suffering well, trust me, my body is shattered. I have a shattered shoulder, 2 shattered hips. I don't want to go into a big old long list of it sound like a pity list or something, but I share in your pain and in your suffering. Okay, I'm right there in a lot of pain with you. All right, so when you embrace the pain and it's not something so scary anymore, there's nothing to be afraid of anymore, because you don't have to fear death anymore, right? Death is the finish line to the graduation. You're going to a graduation party when you die, so death is no longer anything to worry about. The one thing that most people are truly worried about is the pain that you endure while dying. Well, shoot, if you're worried about the pain you're enduring while dying, what about all the pain you're enduring while living? A whole lifetime's worth of pain you just endured, and you're worried about 5 minutes worth at the end. No, you're putting all your suffering in now. You're enduring your suffering well, worthy of a king's household. Okay, so your suffering, remember, is worthy of a king's household. I can relate. I know what pain is. When you're suffering, I can relate. I feel you. It's worthy of my household. So everything you endure can help you become more like me, strong, resilient, a fighter. Okay, when you get these spiritual attacks and you're feeling down and you're fighting to get to salvage your day, maybe multiple times a day. Remember the ultimate goal. You will see my face in righteousness. Now, another important factor that everybody, hey, this is all the good news. This is all great and feels good and stuff. You feel good inside. I want you to also to remember, I redeem you from hell. I redeem you from hell, crowning you with love and mercy. I wrap you in goodness, and I renew your youth. I give you these magnificent gifts because I take pleasure in you. So let my delight in you soak into the depths of your being. Did you get that? Let my delight in you. I am receiving pleasure by sharing this information with you. You are my family that trusts me, unlike anybody else that doesn't trust me. Okay, so I take pleasure in you. I delight when you soak in the depths, when you take me in and you soak me into the depths of your being. Okay. And these are gifts. I give you these magnificent gifts, not only of these images, but the gift of how to see this in the clouds now for yourself wherever you go. All right. Now, when you look into your clouds, you know what to look for a little bit. That gift as well. So if you recognize that I gave you that gift of how to see these faces in the clouds, and you are caught up with me in the clouds there, then I must truly be who I say I am. I crown you with love and mercy. I wrap you in goodness, and I renew your strength, your courage, your peace, your youth. I take pleasure in you. I delight in you when you soak in the depths, when you soak in me all the way to the depths of your being, and when you find satisfaction in your soul. So let my delight in you soak into the depths of your being, satisfying your soul. Although I see your sins and flaws, my perfect love never wavers. I look on you first and foremost as my redeemed one. What do I look on you as? First and foremost, my redeemed one. Okay? So the most important thing I look at is you are my redeemed one. You're wearing a paradise crown and you're wrapped in beauty eternal now. I want your identity as my beloved to be front and center in your mind. Okay? The fact that I love you back. You guys love this? I love you back. You know, I don't need a bunch of likes and a bunch of comments and stuff like that. I appreciate them, but I love you for just loving me. Okay? And I love you back. That's why I give you all these wonderful information and all these cool images, and because I truly love you back. Oh, shucks. Yeah, it is kind of one of those aw shucks moment. And you're stuck with me. I take pleasure in you. I look on you first and foremost as my redeemed one, wearing a paradise crown and wrapped in beauty eternal. I want your identity. Your identity now is my beloved. So I want your identity as my beloved to be front and center in your mind. Every day when you're out there doing stuff, remember here and there, let it pop into your mind. I'm loved by the Lord. And let that soak into your depths, because that's what real satisfaction is. Okay, so back to the thoughts here. I want you to remember that your identity as my beloved, and I want it to be front and center in your mind. However, your thoughts often get stuck on trivial matters, especially when your mind is in neutral. This is why I urge you to be alert and always keep on praying. Invite me to enter into your circumstances, including your thoughts, including your feelings, your decisions, and Get ready to include me in your emotions. Communicating with me will help you focus less on your trivial matters and more on the glorious realities. Okay? So quit focusing on all of this trivial shit and look up at that screen and recognize your glorious reality. That's your glorious reality, heaven right there. All right, we're gonna stick with that image right there, I guess. Let me just show you something. See all these pictures I take? I hold my arms up. I try to hold the camera in one spot so I could get pretty much center shot of the sky. These are all the pictures I took that day. All right. It's not a GIF. It's not computer generated. It's all of these pictures. Some are in black and white and some are blue and white because of the way the sun was shining through the clouds. It dimmed the sky a little bit and my camera reacted. So some of them look blue and whitish, and others are black and white. But I took the best of these images and stacked them all on top of each other. Here I've taken a couple of them and rotated them so you can see it a lot better. Let's have that one right there, Lord. There we go. A paradise crown and wrapped in beauty eternal. Invite me to enter into your circumstances, including your thoughts, feelings, decisions, emotions. Communicating with me will help you focus less on your trivial matters and more on glorious realities. Glorious realities. Look at some of these glorious realities. Each one of these pictures is a miracle. Okay, so not just all of them stacked together. Each one of them is a picture of my face in the sky on Easter wearing a crown. There's a good one right there. See how big it is in your face when I hit the picture? If you didn't know what it was, if I hadn't described it to you, and I just clicked on this picture right here, you wouldn't see it, right? But there's our image right there. And what I kind of was trying to show you is I kept taking more and more pictures. Here's the lion face. All right. You can see right here, it starts to change. There was another event. So I took this picture. I turned to the right because there's another event blossoming over here. So I took a 3, 4, 5 pictures to the right. And when I turned back, changed to a lion face. So I put all these pictures, stacked them together in the flip book. So you see that this flip book, when I show you, this is just all those pictures stacked on top of each other, like you do a cartoon. No trickery, no what is it, Photoshop or I don't know what the guys use now, but it's important you saw that and you understand that, because while you wait in my presence, I will renew your strength. I will renew your hope. I will renew your peace. And regardless of how old you are always young in my presence. Okay? So no matter how old you are always young in my presence. You're my child. And I think that was going to be the closer. Oh, no. Oh, we got much more. You guys ready for much more? Yeah, because I got more here for you. Let's get even deeper here. find some other pictures here. This is some of the other images too that I captured. This little face, you descending out of the clouds. Real face. Imagine you had this stuff following you everywhere you went. The people in my town are crazy because they're looking up at their skies going, what's going on? But there's just a little sample. These are all pictures of the clouds. I just take the pictures. Okay, I'm not doing any of this. Here's another one here. Let's see if you can see the wolf right there with the eyes, the ears. 2 eyes, excuse me, here's his nose. It's the big bad wolf huffing and puffing and blowing the house down. And all this activity happening in your clouds. If you just look up, and you look up into your clouds, you get caught up in the clouds. And then all of a sudden you'll see me in the clouds. And you'll be caught up with me in the clouds. All right, back to where we're. Now, I meet you in the place of your deepest need. Okay, so come to me just as you are, leaving pretenses and performance behind. You're totally transparent to me. I know everything about you. I know more about you than you know about yourself. So you are totally transparent to me. And because you are my own, redeemed by my blood, I have unlimited, unfailing love for you. So ask my spirit to help you be honest and open with me. Don't be ashamed of your neediness. Don't be ashamed of some of those nasty sins. Okay, we're cleansing you of the nasty sins, the ones that you don't want to recognize or talk about. The skeleton in your closet, that one, that one thing that's been hiding in your closet there the whole time. That's what I'm here to work on. It's the hard stuff. Okay, so I meet you in the place of your deepest need. You're totally transparent. I know everything about you. Because you're redeemed by my blood, I have unlimited, unfailing love for you. Ask my spirit to be open and honest with me. Don't be ashamed of your neediness. Instead, use it to connect with me. Use it to connect with me in humble dependence. Because I'm humble. I love humble people. Use it to connect with me in humble dependence. Invite me to have my way in your life. Remember that I am the potter and you are the clay. The weakness you bring me is malleable in my hands. Your weakness is not malleable in your hands, but it is in mine. So bring your weakness to me because it's malleable in my hands, and I use it to mold you according to my will. Your deepest need is to lean on, trust in, and be confident in me. Did you know that? Did you know that that was your deepest need? This whole time you've been searching and searching and searching. You're like, what is my deepest need? Your deepest need really, truly is you need to lean on me, you need to trust in me, and you need to be confident in me. Because accepting your lack of strength helps you lean on me in unashamed dependence. That's what we want, unashamed dependence. So accepting your lack of strength, you don't have the strength to do it all. You can't save the world. So accept the fact you have a little lack of strength here and there, and that helps you lean on me in your unashamed dependence. I am training you to trust me with all your. It's a lifelong endeavor. Okay, it's every day. Every day is a new battle. I'm training you to trust me with all your heart and mind each day of this lifelong endeavor. The best way is to not be afraid. The best way to not be afraid is to have confidence in me, and that's your strength. You see all the calamity going on, and you're getting weary, and you want some strength. Right there, look up at that picture. Know that's real. That's me. It's real. It's happening. The Word was made flesh, not cloud. Jesus isn't coming back in the clouds. He's coming back as a man, just like he did before. The Word made flesh. Why? So it could dwell among you. Did you know that you're all here so I can dwell among you? That's your purpose, is to be here so I can dwell with you. Yeah, it's starting to sink in now, huh? You're looking around at all the signs going on around, going, well, it's got to be around here somewhere. It's got to be happening somehow. The rapture's got to be any day now. Well, it is. It's happening every day, but it's not happening the way Hollywood portrayed. There is no rapture in the Bible. That's what's going to disappoint a lot of people. They're going to be crushed when they find out, what? Hollywood said I was going to fly up into the air out of my body and turn into this white ball of light, and everybody was going to be shocked. Oh, there he goes, and everybody else was left behind, and airplanes fall out of the sky. No. When you see these signs, look up. When you look up, you will see me coming in the clouds. You see me in the clouds? See me coming in the clouds? I got power and great authority. See that crown? That's power and great authority. This is me in the clouds with power and great authority. You see me in the clouds with power and great authority. Just like the Bible said, but everybody takes their own context, their own theory, instead of just reading what it says. You are technically, well, in your words, raptured right now. If you're raptured, if you lean on, trust in, and you're confident in me. If you're not, then you're not raptured. You're just looking at some clouds and some dude telling you that's him. But if you lean on and trust in, and you're confident in me, now all of a sudden you have confidence and I become your strength. Now your choices matter. They're a vital part of my transforming work in you. Okay? You make the most of your choices of... Where's my drink here? I got to get this right. This is an important concept to grasp. Okay, so bear with me. I'll take it slow. Your choices matter. They're a vital part of my transforming work in you. You make most of your choices alone in the solitude of your heart and mind. But remember, I am Christ in you. I know every thought before you think it, every decision before you make it. So your realization that I'm aware of everything going on within you can protect you from careless, selfish living. Now we're getting to this problem of selfish living. This dang mouse gets in the way there. Selfish living. We're trying to kill the ego. We're trying to be selfless and more... we're trying to be selfless and not so selfish. Okay? So... your realization that I'm aware of everything can protect you from being selfish or careless. Let your desire to please me, the one who knows you so intimately, change the way you think and live. So let your desire to please me change the way you think and live. Instead of just trying to go through life now you have a purpose. Your purpose is to please me. You should have a desire to please me, and that's by living. Go out and live. Practice what I've taught you. You'll see. Okay, you're missing out on a lot of magical things that are going on right now in this world. If you have been paying attention about the code in the music that I've been telling you, you can drive down the street seeing heaven in the clouds and hearing the music playing already. If you know what you're doing, you're literally already in heaven. And I'm right there standing next to you. If you just kind of come around and see your perspective from a different light, okay? Your realization that I am aware of everything going on within you, around you, to you, and that I can protect you from your selfish living. So let your desire to please me change the way you think and live. When you do that, you have a new desire in your heart. You become healthy. You're happy. You have a purpose in your life. You're like, do you remember the Blues Brothers in the movie where they're like, we're on a mission from God? It makes you feel special, because when you truly are on a real mission from the real God, you truly see how blessed you are. Your desire to please me changes the way you think and live. That's the desired effect. We're trying to change the way you think and live, because the way you think and live right now is insane. You may have assumed that your choices are mostly insignificant, but that's not true either. A good decision you make today, no matter how small, can set you on the path to accomplish something very important. Now, on the other hand, a bad decision, even a minor one, can lead to serious failure or loss in the future. So, you see how it's down the line. A good decision will set you on the path for something good. A bad decision can set you on a path for failure or loss in the future. So through your choices, your choices do indeed matter, okay? So remember that there is no condemnation for those who belong to me. I am able to see all your flaws and failures, yet simultaneously love you with glorious, unfailing love. So even though you're making some of the wrong decisions and you're not including me, I still love you. I know how hard it can be. I'm able to see all your flaws and failures. I'm able to see mine and accept mine as well. We all have to be accepting of our own and then work on them. Yep. Because, all right, cool. Then I got my closer coming now. So let me just rehash this last little bit and then we'll do the closer. So you've assumed that your choices are mostly insignificant, but that's not true. A good decision today can set you on a path to accomplish something important. A bad decision can lead to something failure or loss in the future. Your choices do indeed matter. And remember that there is no condemnation for those who belong to me. I am able to see all your flaws and future, yet simultaneously love you with glorious, unfailing love, because I am your brother and your friend. I am the firstborn among many brothers. You are being transformed to conform to my likeness. This is an astonishing privilege and a blessing. Some children are blessed to have a strong, loving older brother who helps them and protects them. But you have an all-powerful big brother who is constantly looking out for your interests. Even the most committed family member or friend cannot be with you always. But I never leave your side. I am the friend who sticks closer than a brother. My continual presence with you should never be taken for granted. Remember that your faithful friend is also King of Kings. And you're seeing a glimpse of me in all my glory. And someday you will understand why John fell at my feet, said, and he recognized, I am the first and the last. I am the living one who was dead and is now alive forever and ever. And I want you to relate to me with reverence because I am your Savior God. Remind yourself that the glorious gift of salvation, rescuing your days, is yours forever. And then honor me with simple thank you. Just a little gratitude, simple thanks, recognition, and a thank you. It's all I need. It's really what you need is recognition and then a thank you because it's actually good for your mind. So remember, you're that glorious gift. Remind yourself that that glorious gift of salvation is now yours forever. Yep, I think that's it for tonight. Wow. Put in 2.5 hours already, huh? That went by fast. Okay, let's plug around here. You guys want to see some more images? I know that's why you're here. I like to screw the message. Show us the cool stuff. Like that guy right there. That's the sun on September 10th, 2017. 13 days before the Revelation 12 sign when the dragon stood in front of the woman. Yeah, there's the dragon right there standing in front of the woman. Everybody missed it too. They were all looking at the star alignment. They didn't read the prophecy right. It says, then another sign appeared, a great dragon. And they think, oh, it happened after the star alignment because then another sign appeared. But then you read it and it says the dragon stood before the woman, in front of. So this sign actually happened before, in front of the woman. Is this someone? No, but where is it? It's this one. No. See, while I'm praying and kind of walking around, I got the security camera recording me and I'm praying, thank God, and got my arms up in the air and these beams come down and touch down in the garage. And there was a face in it, but that's not the one. Oh, that one. Let's see if we can. Oh, that's as much zoom as I can get. Anyways, there's a face right up at the top of this. Kind of hard to see. And I can sense something there, so I'm praying, and sure enough, something shows up there. And these aren't dust particles streaking through the room. Okay. A lot of people go, oh, it's just a dust particle. Nah, a little bit more than that. Dust particle go right across the top of the cross right there. Just perfect. See a little blast in the cross right there. Now you see this stuff dumping around? That's like dust particles. That's what dust particles kind of look like. This is something different. That's a shaft of light. And you want to see victory? There's V for victory. How would you feel if this stuff started showing up on your camera and this stuff started happening to you? You would trip out. There's an angel at the foot of my bed. There's his wing coming up, going down. His head's right in this area. The other wing comes up and goes down. With this wing over here, it reaches over to my head and grabs something and flicks it away. Grabs another thing, flicks it away. Right there's one. There goes the second one. Halo forms over his head. He shoots it to me. It bounces off me, hits his wing over here, and he hits it back. Okay? All of this stuff is happening to me because of who I am. In fact, let's do that. Let's do that. Why don't we? Now, I've shown you angels, and angel means messenger. So these angels that showed up and I showed you on the security camera, well, they didn't just show up to make pretty pictures. They also had a message. They told me I need to, they told me that my birthmark was a mortal wound suffered in a previous life. And then I needed to check out my birthmark. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I don't have a birthmark. I said, yeah, you do. So here, we'll just kind of get into this.
Folks, welcome to my video. My name is Brian Knight, and I've been struggling with this for a while on how to do this video. So please bear with me here. So first off, I want you to look at my ID here.
Hey, that's that dude out by the moon right there. I've seen that guy before. That's my face and my birthday.
You know who I am? I say I am.
March 24th, 1970. That's 3 days after spring. See, Jesus rose 3 days later. Later than what? 3 days after what? Well, he is the spring, the hope of new life. The season of spring actually started because of his crucifixion. And he rose 3 days later. The first day of spring is March 21st. 21 plus 3 equals 24. March 24th, 1970. 70 is all over the Bible. My birthday is in the Bible. Angels told me about this. I had no idea. I kept seeing my birthday everywhere, and I'm like, what's up with that? And I didn't know about this. Angels told me your birthday,
I
Brian.
want you to take note of the date of birth. March 24th, 1970.
Okay.
And to take pictures of this, so
Actually, it's right there, sir.
Jesus resurrected 3 days after spring. The real Easter is March 24th. In this famous painting here, this shows the Roman soldier piercing Jesus' heart with a spear. Now, what he didn't know is that the heart is on this side over here. But he stabbed him on the right-hand side. So, and then I'm going to show you another painting depicts this. Okay.
Important location. Everybody represents it down here. The stab wound being in this area, right down here. No, they're wrong. It was clear up here on the side under his armpit. That's how you puncture the heart. Okay, you don't puncture the heart from way down here. You come at it from the side. He was stabbed in the side, not down here in the stomach where Hollywood and everybody and the representations all show it there. They all depict it being in that location. Well, you look at this ancient painting, This is an ancient painting. They couldn't take a picture of it at the time. They depict it differently. See the blood dripping off his elbows? That would happen. Blood would run down your arms to a little pinnacle point and then drip off your elbows. This is a good depiction of a real event. When you see blood dripping off the elbows like that and squirting out the side, it didn't just run down the side, it squirted out because of pressure. So now you know the location is way up here on the side, not up here in his gut. All right. These angels told me my birthmark was a mortal wound I suffered in a previous life. What? Okay.
Birthmark. And this is the birthmark that I have on the side of my chest.
A stab wound.
See?
With faces in it.
Show you a different image here, too.
Right in the same location.
There it is again. Okay. On camera.
Can you see it? All right. I had no idea about this. I didn't even know I had a birthmark. It's in such a weird spot. I've never seen it during my whole life. I had no idea I had a birthmark right there, especially in the shape of a stab wound.
See? Okay. There it is again.
And go research this stuff. I didn't believe it either. I'm like, what? I never heard of the birthmark being a what? Come on. And then I went and researched it. And yeah, there's a accredited doctor, did tons and years and years and years of research and got all kinds of proof and evidence. So
There it is. See?
now I've shown you faces in the clouds and stuff. There are faces in my birthmark. There are 3 faces because 3 in 1. First off, right here, you can make out 2 eyes, nose, mouth, chin, right here. Let me do it a little bit better. Maybe we can capture just a tad bit better. All right, right there. It's the devil, okay, with horns. Right next to it, this face right here, 2 eyes, the nose, the mouth, kind of curly hair, Jesus. And then there's another face in a different realm right here, 2 eyes, mouth, but in white. See how these faces are drawn in brown? This one's in white. There are 3 faces in there, 3 in 1. Now, we had it right there. All right. Now, I'm a humble guy. I'm not trying to like go brag and all this. It's just, it's important that you guys know now who I am and what's going on.
All right. So I showed you Mary and angels in my garage. I showed you demons and Satan in my garage.
Attacking me?
I'm showing you the Nemesis system of Nibiru. Showing you all this evidence. Now.
Okay, so there's that. Also, I got another little treat for you guys too. Just because. Go over my channel in the community. This might take just a second to scroll down, so just bear with me. Got a lot of stuff posted on the community. I'm trying to get to a certain little thing here to wrap this up with as well. Look at all this evidence. Look at all this shit. It's so crazy. Hey, there was 3590. You remember that one? Hang on. We're getting there. We're getting there. I know it's getting closer. Oh, What? This picture? Yeah, I got these birthmarks on my feet too. Right there. Oops. Right there. Right here and right there. And when I take a shower, the hot water makes that and that glow really bright red on my feet. So they actually like glow bright red in the shower under hot water. Sorry, my feet are all messed up and I have shattered feet too. So it hurts to walk. Every step is painful. Okay, so 2 birthmarks, boom, boom. The birth date, the stab wound on the side, Mary and angels visiting me, the baby being born in my garage. This stuff happening to me everywhere I go. You can lean in and trust on your foundation there because I love you. There is no condemnation for those that I love. Everybody's going, it's got to be happening. All these signs are happening. Yeah, it's happening, but everybody's just refusing to believe it. Imagine if you had a secret, a good secret. Most people's secrets are bad. They want to keep them in the closet and keep it hidden. That's why it's a secret. But I got a secret. It's a good one. It's like the best secret ever. And I'm trying to tell it to you. All right. That's it. I love you all. I miss you all. God bless you all. And until my next show, I will be back because I'm already back. And Brian Knight is coming like a lion. And he's God.